testimony that we've heard. We just heard from witness number 10 for the state, Emma Addy. She's 20 years old now, was 17 years old at the time of the incident that has her dad on trial. And she gave some very compelling testimony against him. And I want to unpack it now with our legal analyst guest. Let me bring back in trial attorney Sarah Klein, joining us live from Philadelphia. Sarah, great to have you back on the program today. And now we can spend a little more time analyzing what Emma Addy shared. Let's just start with how she walked the prosecutor through the story that night when she was at home and said her dad seemed antsy. What do you think some of those facts said to the jury as she was relating them and observing things that were somewhat unusual for her father at that time of night?
Yeah, I think she was an excellent witness for the state. She was calm, she was composed, and she was very, very matter of fact of what happened that night, right? And we heard earlier today somebody mention that, what would a girl that age be doing homework for on a Friday night? Well, this seems to be the exact child, a responsible, mature child who was at home doing her homework, and dad comes in, seems agitated, does some laundry, it smells like bleach. I think everything that this young woman had to say was very compelling for the state, and I was curious to see what the defense was going to do with it, and it seemed that they didn't have a whole lot to do with that testimony.
Right. No, he kind of just ignored it. And I've noticed that's something in terms of advocacy this defense attorney is doing. And sometimes it's a little bit of a technique that can work well when you sort of stay away from the bad facts. But here I notice he's keeping every cross really short, not confronting anything that bodes poorly for his client, James Addy. And here with the child, I think this is probably one of those crosses where I think it's okay to keep it kind of short, because the last thing he wants to do is seem like he's picking on this young woman who was 17 at the time. And how about she said that this was her prom weekend, that she found out her dad was going to marry another woman. And like you touched on just before we went back into the cross, how we learned that she actually met Molly Watson, the victim in this case, that, wow, he really brought the two lives together on that occasion. And how about how the child, she described it as a regular introduction. You could see a 17-year-old at the time thinking, oh, this is a regular introduction, Emma, Molly, Molly, Emma. And here to come to find out, later on that this is the woman that he was seeing, the woman, he was betraying her mother with. A very, very tough position for that young woman to be in.
Absolutely. So bold and so brazen, right? Did Addie have in his mind, is my daughter going to say anything about her mother when I make this introduction, right? So
Right.
it just goes back, I think, to his character. And, the jury is not going to like hearing that he was that bold and that brazen with his child. And what we know about juries hate liars. And so the defense has a very tough job here, because right out of the gate, we know he was lying, right? That's sort of not disputed. He had these two separate lives. We know that he was lying to both parties, and that's something, that the jury is really, really not going to like, which leaves the defense, kind of with their hands tied behind their back.
It does, Sarah. Excellent points. So much coming out of this witness. We're going to talk more about it. The T-shirt she made. I mean, there's just a ton there from this young woman, and very brave of her to give that testimony today. That couldn't have been easy. Sarah Klein, thank you so much. You're going to continue to stay with us on the program. We want you to stay put as